standard form. Now standard form is this, when instead of mx plus b you have something like this, ax plus by is equal to c. So it might look like, if we have numbers, so this line is in standard form, 3x plus 2y equals 10. So there we have a line that's its standard form. Now one way to graph this is to convert it to slope-intercept form. Remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. There's slope-intercept form, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So if we convert it to standard form, or to slope-intercept form, we would just do that by trying to isolate y. So we're going to isolate y by doing the same thing to both sides. So if we want y by itself, we can subtract 3x from both sides. So then we have 2y equals, now 10 minus 3x is really the same as negative 3x plus 10. And then we have 2y, so to get y by itself still, we're going to divide everything by 2. So now we have in slope-intercept form, the line is y equals negative 3 halves x plus 5. And then to graph this, we now know our slope and our y-intercept. Our y-intercept is at positive 5. So that means we're going to go up to the point 0, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There it is. And then our slope is negative 3 halves. So that means we go down 3 and right 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. There's a point. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. There's a point. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And really you only need 2 points, but sometimes it helps to draw more. And there's my line. Right? So converting to slope-intercept form really will always just involve 2 steps. We will have the step where we subtract the x term from both sides, and the step where we divide by the coefficient of y. So any line that's in standard form, so if we have, again, 3x minus 6y equals 18, first thing we do, subtract x term. Or I suppose sometimes we could add it. Add if negative. So we're going to have now, after we subtract 3x from both sides, we get negative 6y equals negative 3x plus 18. And then we divide by coefficient of the y term. Remember, coefficient is the number in front. So here the coefficient is negative 6. So if we divide everything by negative 6, then divide by negative 6, divide by negative 6, then we end up with y equals negative 3 over negative 6 simplifies to positive 1/2 x plus, nope, that's minus, because we have a positive divided by a negative. So we have minus 18 over 6 is 3. So now again, we have our slope as a half and our y-intercept is negative 3. Now we go down to negative 3. And then my slope is 1 over 2. So I go up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Since the slope is positive, as x increases, y increases. Everything's going up. And there's my line. Now there's another way you can graph lines in standard form that does not require converting it to slope-intercept form. And it comes down to one key fact. And that is, to graph a line, you really just need 2 points. So, let's take the line, let's make it a messy one, just to prove my point. 10x minus 3y equals 13. Now, of course, we could still convert this to slope-intercept form, but another thing we can do is, this is called the graphing by intercepts method. Graphing by intercepts. So I'm going to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept of this line. So x-intercept, the x-intercept is on the x-axis. And when you're on the x-axis, so that means you're on here, this is the x-axis, then that means that's when y is equal to 0. So the x-intercept is when y equals 0, and the y-intercept, that would be on the y-axis. There's the y-axis. And the y-intercept is, in fact, when x equals 0. A lot of people mix those up. But remember, if you have an x-intercept, right, you're crossing the x-axis, well, this entire x-axis, the height is 0. So that means y is 0. So we're going to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept of this line. So to find the x-intercept, we're going to plug in 0 for y, because at the x-intercept, y is equal to 0. So now we have 10x minus 3 times 0 equals 13. Well, obviously, 3 times 0 is 0. So we have 10x equals 13, and divide by 10. That means x equals 13 over 10, which is 1.3. Well, exactly 1.3. The wavy equal sign means approximately equals, but this one's exact because it's over 10. So that means my x-intercept is 1.3. X is 1.3. X is 1.3. And y is 0. We plugged in 0 for y to find it. So I'm going to go plot the point 1.3, which is about right here. And then it's on the x-axis, meaning y is 0. Now I'm going to do this, I'm going to do almost the same thing to find the y-intercept. I'm going to plug in 0 for x to find y-intercept. So we plug in 0 for x. So now we have 10 times 0 minus 3y equals 13. Obviously 10 times 0 is 0, so we have negative 3y equals 13, which means y equals negative 13 over 3, which is negative 4.33 as a decimal. So that means my y-intercept is going to be x is 0, and y, we plugged in 0 for x, and then y is negative 4.33. So I'm going to plot that point now, 0 and negative 4.33. It's right about there. And now I can go ahead and draw my line, because I have 2 points. My line looks like this. But straighter, because I messed up there. But we didn't have to find the slope. We didn't find the y. Well, we did find the y-intercept, but we didn't have to find the slope. But we still were able to find the graph of this line. Sometimes this is a quicker way of graphing lines, but it's up to you. As long as you know one of those methods, then you're going to be okay.